What's going on, everybody? This is V3Cast, Voyager 3 official podcast, and this is episode number 10. We made it, guys. 10 episodes of V3Cast.
10 episodes, that's right.
Yes.
No one ever doubted us. We were going to make it to 10.
This is our WWE intro. You other podcasts didn't think we'd make it, but we did.
You all doubted us, and now...
Now, speaking of doubting things, I bet you a lot of non-true Detroit Tigers fans today were doubting those Tigers at first, but they held out. They pulled their stuff up by their bootstraps, got it together, and they won. Home opener. They got it. Let's hear it. Right.
Yes.
All right. Hey, we'll get better.
We'll get better. We're working on it.
That's right.
It's funny how we coordinated shirts without actually talking about it.
I know. Well, opening day in Detroit is a holiday. It's a holiday.
That's the spirit.
It is.
All right, man. How are you guys? Now, I know we just saw each other last night because we had a rehearsal. Rehearsal was awesome. We duffed it off, some songs, and surprisingly, they sounded really good for not playing them since last Halloween.
Yeah, they were better than I thought they would be. And
I fully expected to suck.
When it was over. When it was over, I thought we'd played like 4 songs because we would talk in between each song for like a half hour. And
we really took our time last night, didn't we?
Start noodling and see if we remembered how to play the songs. And then we finally play it. But I think we did 6 songs. That's not too bad.
Well, that's after not seeing each other in person since what, October or something? You know, we haven't been in a room together, really.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
So there's going to be some chit chat in between.
That's right.
Yeah.
We weren't focused.
No, you can't blame us for not being focused 100% in our first practice in forever.
Right.
Yeah, we said we were going to give it about 91.7% last night. Isn't that what we agreed to?
Man, I think we nailed that. I really do.
Yeah, we were excellent.
We had a fridge full of different beverages. We had to explore and figure out what tasted the best. Greg got that new double bass crossbar. We had to see how that was. It was a whole bunch of stuff.
We had to try that fucker out.
That's right.
Steve must have had himself about 3 or 4 ginger beers.
Oh yeah, it was a hot and spicy night, man. Hey, speaking of ginger beer and things along those lines, what are y'all drinking tonight? I gotta know.
I got this. It's not the best thing I've ever had, but it's called Blackberry Bramble.
I've never heard of such a thing.
Kind of like,
is it dessert?
Whoa, Blackberry Bramble can. And it's all right. It's not the best. It's like a vodka with blackberry. It's a little fruity magooty, but when you buy a 4-pack, you should finish the 4-pack unless you really can't stand it. Then I would give it to Greg.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you got to follow through or give it to Greg. So that's like a cocktail in a can then, really, right?
Cocktail in a can.
Do you have some fresh lime to put in there? Because that'll really elevate it, I got to say.
Why you got to call me out, Steve? I don't have any fresh lime.
Do you have that little green plastic thing you could squeeze some lime juice into it from the fridge?
I do have that.
See, that's better than nothing.
Yeah, you're right. I could have faked it. I got it right in there.
That's right.
I was going to say, people should appreciate our honesty. Aaron just came right out and said he didn't have fresh lime. I mean, they wouldn't have known. You could have said, yeah, I squeezed 10 fresh limes in there.
Right.
True.
But we're honest.
Hey, but listen, just like the Detroit Tigers, we keep it real here, V3Cast.
That's right.
And the crowd energy that backs us up, because we'd be nothing without that crowd roaring our names out there. Let's hear it.
So, what are you drinking, Greg?
I have to dump that in.
Lot of work. We got a lot of work to do on that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Normally, I'm pretty good at it.
I'm drinking out of my Detroit Tiger koozie on opening day, and I'm drinking probably the beer that I've drank at more opening days than I'd care to admit. Miller Lite.
That's a staple for a baseball, man. I gotta say, right? It's got to be.
Yes.
Yeah, and it costs you $9 at Comerica Park.
That's right.
Ooh, that's a lot of money for a can of beer. Man.
What about you?
Sure is.
I'm going to crack it open and see if you can hear this crack. All right.
It's a white monster.
No, I got myself a Gosling Ginger beer. Speaking of ginger beers, one of my top favorites, top 3. I totally dig this one. So, you know, I didn't have enough ginger beer last night. I got to have some more tonight.
You're a fiend.
Cheers. The first thing I wanted to talk about tonight was the fact that this is our 10th V3 cast. So for those people who are just joining us tonight for the first time, we're a band called Voyager 3, and we also do a podcast. We talk about all the stuff that we like. Music, film, different drinks, comic books, Dungeons and Dragons on occasion, and whatever else comes to mind. So if you dig this kind of stuff, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe. I can't believe I said that too. That's funny. We're officially YouTubers now, I guess, right?
Smash that like button.
That's right.
Yeah, as long as we don't say it 6 times per podcast.
I know, right?
Isn't that what the kids say? Smash that like button.
But yeah, we have a lot of fun doing this, man. We talk about all kinds of stuff that is classic to us, that we've loved since we were kids, or stuff that's like brand new this week, whatever it is. If it's interesting to us, we'll talk about it. So, you know, join us in the discussion. You can always leave comments, and sometimes we'll comment on the comments or whatever. That's what the mailbag segment is of our podcast. So there you have it. Have you guys seen Moon Knight, by the way?
Love it. I've been waiting for Moon Knight since I was a little kid. I've always loved Moon Knight. Back when I was about 11 or 12, we used to play this game where we would take the Marvel characters and we would choose them and have sort of a stable of characters, and we would fight. It would be like a duel between, you know, Moon Knight and freaking Cyclops or something. And we would roll, like Steve helped me develop this and added this D&D stuff into it. And we would roll dice. We'd have hit points. We'd make all these stats for the characters based on the old Marvel Universe handbooks, which are like behind me somewhere.
Yeah, that was like your monster manual kind of thing. Like that's you chose from that. I remember that.
Yeah. And we would like take turns going through each new issue of the Marvel handbook, the Marvel Universe handbook. And Moon Knight was one of the guys I had to have. So I've been waiting for Moon Knight since I was a kid. And this is an awesome show. It's different from any other superhero show that they've done so far, because you're just as clueless to what's going on as the character, Stephen Grant. And Oscar Isaac is such a great actor, and he's so committed to this part, to making these distinct characters, Marc Spector and Stephen Grant. And he's so awesome. He's always been a great actor. And it's really a cool story and a cool journey, because you really don't know where it's going. Even if you know the history or the character of Moon Knight, you know, that's like 40 years worth of stories. So they can do anything they want in this world. It's awesome. What do you guys think?
Well, that was one of the first things I was going to comment on, because I had a feeling that you knew about Moon Knight. So you had some kind of a background going into it. I myself had absolutely no idea anything about Moon Knight other than I've heard the name Moon Knight, probably from the games that we played back in the day. Also, quick shout out to the cover design for the Marvel Universe encyclopedia, how it all was one continuous picture, and you had to, once you got the next issue, I remember you'd put it together, we'd have it going like down the hallway, because it got to be like a long way, because how many books were there, like 20 or something like that? It was like quite a bit.
15, 16 or something.
Yeah. So that was one of my favorite things with them.
They're running from left to right and, you know, flying and running. And then you would see like the foot, like if you were in, you know, the seas, you'd have Captain America, but then at the end of on the right side of it, you'd see Daredevil's foot, because next issue would be the D's for Daredevil, that kind of stuff. It was awesome.
That was killer for sure. But okay, so I had no idea about Moon Knight at all. So they approach this story very mysteriously. You know, he has that band on his ankle. What's up with the sand around the bed? And then quickly you end up realizing that he's trying to see if he left the room that he's in, you know, just to give you a little setup for it. So I'm trying to piece this together as I'm watching it, and maybe it's better that I didn't know anything, like even like what Moon Knight is and how it's structured and what kind of powers he has and what's going on with these two identities. I mean, I still don't really know because it's only 2 episodes in, and I've watched 1.6 of them. And I'm so digging it. It is very different from your typical comic book setup and structure, but I really liked how mysterious it was and still is to me, because I have no inkling of even the universe that it exists in. So very cool for sure. And you're right. Incredible acting from everybody so far. Ethan Hawke is super like this, like, I don't even know how to describe it, almost like a shaman type of character, I think, something like that anyway. But yeah, and you know he knows a lot that you don't know yet, so I can't wait to see this unfold for sure. How about you, Greg?
I'll say this real quick, and then I'll go back to how I got into Moon Knight originally. But they're doing a really good job at making the audience feel exactly like the character feels. He doesn't know what the fuck's going on either. You know what I mean? Like he's trying to figure it out in these first couple of episodes. That's exactly what the audience has to do. You're like, I don't know this story. It's not a Batman origin story that I've seen 20 times. I don't even, I don't know what's going on. And it's so, I was telling Aaron last night, it's just so refreshing to finally have a comic book story that you don't know already. You know what I mean? So from that angle, I really like it. So now going back to how I got into Moon Knight, I was a kid, man. I bought those comic books solely based on the way he looked. He looked badass, right? And he had a cool name. So to be honest, when I started collecting Moon Knight comics, and this will make Aaron cringe because all my comics got left in a house at some point in my past, and whoever bought that house came upon a really good comic book collection. But anyways,
That's true.
I digress. I bought it because of how he looked. So like when I was a kid, I just started buying whenever you could get it on the newsstand, right? So like, I don't know what point of the story I was in. I don't know if I was at the beginning. I don't know if it was tied to what they're doing in this TV show. So, it's great because he looks good. I don't want to give too much away, but they're doing some clever things with the way he looks, writing wise. So I don't know. I think it has potential. Definitely, with him in the lead role. It's fun to watch. Because he's a great actor.
Yeah, and the music is really good. I was looking up the composer, and I didn't know that name at all. And come to find out that it's an Egyptian composer that worked a lot in his own country and did things that, we're not privy to, unless maybe you dig really deep, I guess. Possibly you could find some stuff that he's done. But this is his really first, I guess, American high-profile type of thing like that, so he's going to really make a splash, I feel like, because he's nailing the music.
That's awesome.
It really has a great vibe to it. It's mysterious when it needs to be, and he cranks up the action when it's needed. He's hitting all the marks, in my opinion, and I'm really enjoying what he's doing. Everything's really cool, and really the probably the first and foremost goal to me that they're doing right now, at least for now, is the mystery part of it, and they're nailing it, because I can't wait to see what's going to happen next and what's going to be revealed next, and gives you a little bit more glimpse, into the whole world like that. It's really cool.
Absolutely.
It's just fun. It's like I said, not to beat it into the ground, but it's just fun to watch something where you don't know where it's going. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I know Moon Knight pretty decently, but I don't know where it's going either. Like I said, there's decades of Moon Knight comics. And,
exactly.
So that comic has kept going ever since the 80s or 90s, or what?
It didn't keep going. Moon Knight was one of those guys who would come and go. He'd have like a 2-year run, then he'd go away again because he wasn't popular anymore. Then he'd come back and do like 5 years. So he's always kind of stopped and started, but there, even with that, it's still over decades. And so there's always all these stories. It's great. I think they're going to be 6 episodes, so I'm looking forward to the whole thing. It's great.
What day does it come out? Does anybody know?
Wednesdays.
On Wednesdays, okay. So yeah, next Wednesday will be number 3. Cool. I'll be caught up by then for sure. All right, let's get into a little bit of Voyager 3 news. We are very much looking forward to getting back to playing live, and we do have, for now, one concert that we can announce. It is Saturday, July 30th, and it's the after party at Motor City Nightmares in Novi, Michigan at the Sheraton. So we'll be there all weekend with a table selling merch and hanging out, signing stuff. But on that Saturday night...
Spending money.
I know, right? For sure. And one of the coolest things about Motor City Nightmares, I know for all of us, is that it's basically a Dawn of the Dead reunion for the cast. So many cast members have been announced. Ken Foree, Galen Ross, and Scott Reiniger are there. So that's, 3 of the main characters. So I got to believe they're going to do some kind of a panel or something like that. So you do not want to miss Motor City Nightmares, July 29th through 31st at the Sheraton Novi in Detroit, Michigan. Tickets are on sale at motorcitynightmares.com. And we'll probably have a couple more shows to announce soon, but we are going to be at Astronomicon. We're not playing live there, but we're going to be there all weekend with a table, hanging out, selling vinyl, signing stuff, and all that kind of good stuff. That's April 22nd through 24th at Burton Manor in Livonia, Michigan. And tickets are available now for that at astronomicon.com. They have a bunch of cool guests like Corey Taylor, Judge Reinhold, a bunch of classic WWE stars and stuff like that. So you don't want to miss that either. And is there any other Voyager 3 news? Yeah, we're going to have new merch, too, coming up at these conventions and shows this summer. So keep a lookout for that.
You know, it might be cool. If you're a fan of us and you've never seen us live, why don't you guys drop in the comments what songs you think we should play live? Because we definitely sort of have like songs that are in our wheelhouse, but maybe if you guys throw something in there that we're not thinking of.
Yeah, it might surprise us.
Yeah, maybe we'll take it on, And don't pick that long one, that 12-minute one. That's not fair. Theoretical megastructure, that one's too long. Too long.
Back when Are You Synthetic first came out, we did play that.
Yeah, we played it. It's a great song, Greg.
Tap the set.
And we may again.
It might be our best song.
Do you know what I said? Tell me if you guys remember this. I said, if we ever had like a real short set to play, like maybe opening for somebody, and we maybe only had like 20 minutes to play or 25 minutes to play, I said, let's just do all the Anima Transgressione, 1, 2, and 3, and that's it. Good night. Because that, all 3 of those take up, I don't know, maybe 15 minutes or something like that. So like that and Victory, and we're gone. And people are like, what the?
My point is like, I think sometimes like the people in the band have a different opinion about what the best songs are, because, we probably gravitate towards stuff that's maybe newer, because we've been playing, how many times have we played Victory in the Battle Chamber? We know we have to play it, but like, maybe there's some songs that people really like that we're not even considering, So
right.
Let us know in the comments.
Yeah.
Very good call, Greg.
Good call. Good call, man.
I'm trying to give the people a voice, Aaron.
That's right.
That's right. Mailbag.
Last time we talked, we went on a bit about Werner's and Faygo, these local Detroit delicacies, and we were wondering if those those drinks had any kind of legs outside of the Metro Detroit area, and we got confirmed from Trevor. Wait, did Trevor say he buys it and has it shipped to him?
Something so really, like that.
That's the thing. Trevor, our buddy
he
Trevor.
Said some stores have it. He said some stores have it.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I thought. Trevor's out in Seattle. He grew up in Michigan, but he's been in Seattle for probably 10 years or so now. And he's able to get his hands on Werner's out there. And I think Faygo too.
Yeah, he just said like not a million flavors, not all the flavors, but some flavors. So better than nothing.
There you go.
Sure.
All the way out on the farthest coast that you can get in this country, in this nation, great nation of ours, you can get Faygo and Werner's. Also, a little closer to home, a little down there in Ohio, Cincinnati, our cousin brother, Sam, he said that he's able to get his hands on Werner's too. So even that Werner's could be down in Ohio, which is our neighbor, and that's Southern Ohio. That's almost Kentucky, right?
I know. Very close to Kentucky for sure.
Yes. It's right over those
Kentucky.
Their airport is in Kentucky. Did you know that?
Cincinnati is in Kentucky?
Yeah, Cincinnati's airport is in Kentucky. So when you land in Cincinnati's airport, you're in Kentucky. Then you drive back up to Cincinnati and do your thing.
There's a geography lesson for you from Voyager 3. But check it out. They're so close to Kentucky that Sam grew up with an accent that he doesn't even know he has.
That's true. That's it. He has a little bit of that, a little twang, just a little bit.
Twang. And he doesn't know he has it. And that's okay because we love him and we love his accent. And
Sam won a Pulitzer Prize, for Christ's sake.
Oh my God.
Very true. Photographer extraordinaire, all kinds of stuff.
Yep.
Let's just remember his humble beginnings as my roadie.
That's right.
Let's not think about his Pulitzer Prize. Let's talk about his roadie days.
Let's not talk about the fact that he was shooting the Super Bowl a few months ago out in California. He was shooting it in LA. Let's not talk about that accomplishment. Let's not talk about that he just had a little baby boy. Let's talk about that he was your roadie.
I like everything to revolve around me, in case you haven't noticed.
So shout out to Trevor and Sam, who are basically, family, and Trevor is basically family too.
That's right.
Love you guys, and Fago and Furners for the win.
Trevor's got a YouTube channel. You guys should check out. It's called Flat, Round, and Spun, and he talks about.
Is that about records?
It's about records.
That's right.
Yes.
Trevor is a record connoisseur. He gets all kinds of stuff every month of all different kind of genres and different eras. All tasty, man.
Trevor worked in record stores for as long as I can remember. So
that's right. Yes, he's a Harmony House alum, correct?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yep. Check out his YouTube channel, Flat, Round, and Spun.
Yeah, we'll link it in the comments for sure, so y'all can check that out. He's got quite a few videos of different hauls that he has from his record purchasing excursions. All right.
Yeah, man. So let that be a lesson to you. Leave some comments, and then maybe we'll drop your name.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, we get a lot of our mailbag stuff from the comments, or sometimes people email us. Oh, speaking of that, we actually have a V3Cast email now, and that is askv3cast@gmail.com. Now, the next topic I wanted to get into, one of my absolute favorite films as a little kid, The NeverEnding Story. Absolute classic. I know everybody's seen it here.
Yep. Multiple times.
Oh yeah, I have the score on vinyl. It totally just takes you right back to being a little kid, man. I love it, absolutely love it. And I was doing some research on it, and I realized that they actually had 2 sequels, and I've never seen those. But I don't think they're good though, because it's almost none of the same cast. For those who don't know, this is our chance to suggest a classic 80s film that I think you would enjoy it. It holds up pretty good, I would say.
It's got one of the most heartbreaking scenes in any movie.
Oh yes, yep, exactly. Which is track 2 on the soundtrack, by the way.
Yeah, and I'm not going to say anything about it. I don't know that I can spoil an 80s movie, but I just won't say anything about it.
Well, why can't we say anything about it? Why is it our responsibility to not spoil a 38-year-old movie? Come on.
That's a good point.
Yeah, but I've said what I've said what I need to say. It's heartbreaking. That's all you need to know.
I'm going to say it.
Don't say it, Aaron.
I'm going to say it.
You can't. Don't say it.
So
you better not.
The fact that they had the balls to do that in that movie and break every kid's heart for a whole generation. Can you imagine? That could never be done now. And
so you did a pretty good job. You didn't say what it was. You just went around it.
I did. At the last second, I held back, man, because I respect you. And I don't want no, but they wouldn't do that now. And even if they did something like that, they would take it back. 20 minutes later, they would undo it, and everybody would be okay and alive.
There'd be some goofy time travel scene where they were dreaming or something.
Right. That's very, very likely. But for those who don't know, The NeverEnding Story is a fantasy film from 1984. It's a German and an American production. So I think most of it was filmed overseas, but it was written. It's based on a book by the same title by Michael Ende. Screenplay was done by the director, who's Wolfgang Petersen, and another guy named Herman Weigel. Now, does anybody know? Because I didn't look that up. Did Wolfgang Petersen do anything else?
Oh yeah, he's done a ton of stuff. He did Das Boot and a bunch of other stuff.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah. So he's had a good career. That's cool. Yeah. But yeah, I was looking at the cast, and unfortunately, most of those people really didn't do anything else. Too much. Some of the people, like Noah Hathaway, who played Atreyu, kind of has some sprinkles of stuff, and he would do like some stints of not acting and then come back and do 2, 3, 4 films and then go away for a while again and come back, and maybe a little TV. But every once in a while there's a movie like that where the movie's incredible and everybody in it absolutely nails it, and then they don't do anything else. Like, it's so weird. Like, is it because they can only see that guy as being Atreyu, or the other kid as being Bastian or something, or what? I mean, they're kids, so you think that if they got to be a teenager or an adult, they wouldn't have that same vibe anymore, and they could continue enjoying a good career, maybe. But sometimes,
I think that it was kind of a curse of a lot of childhood actors to either not continue or not be cast in other stuff, because I don't know, they were giving all the roles to Ricky Schroeder or something, right.
God.
A lot of those kids, like, you look, and even in more modern times, like a lot of those kids from the Willy Wonka remake, and that's like 4 major kids, right? Only one of them went on to do anything, from what I remember, Abigail Breslin, and all the other 3 kids who seemed like they had potential, they all disappeared, and they're all, who knows where they are now. Yeah. So I think it's really tough for a child actor to make that transition to adulthood. Yeah. It's never been easy, right? And so many of them get screwed up mentally, and I mean, even abused and stuff, and like kind of go through all these weird times and drugs and all that stuff because they have too much too fast or whatever. Right. So it's tough for those childhood actors,
Well, let's not forget that it's just hard to get work in Hollywood, period. You know what I mean? There's
super high competition.
Million actors, so I don't know. You know what movie I always put in the same category? Like I kind of, they exist at the same moment in my life. You guys remember Time Bandits?
Oh man. I love Terry Gilliam.
One of my favorite movies.
What? Yeah, top like between notch. Time Bandits and NeverEnding Story, like those, like there was just a lot of like cool fantasy stuff going on in the 80s. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. Time Bandits, I remember there was a period of my life where I couldn't, like, I remembered it, but I felt like it was a dream. You know what I mean? Like,
because it's so kooky like that.
Yeah, I mean, like that scene where they're in that vast nothingness and they're just on those platforms and there's cages hanging from
when they become taken prisoner type of thing.
You know what I mean? Like some of that stuff just seems like you dreamt it. Like you didn't see it in a movie. It's just like something you remember from a dream or something. But
I'll give you guys a third one too of that same era. That if you like any one of the 2 we've mentioned so far, NeverEnding Story and Time Bandits, you will absolutely also love The Adventures of Baron Munchausen. Oh.
Terry Gilliam is the director of Baron Munchausen and Time Bandits.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
So and as far as dreams go, I mean, that's what he does, is make dreams into movies. I mean, that's his specialty. Make these hallucinatory movies and these stories where, you kind of like remember them from childhood and you go, was that even real? And it was all Terry Gilliam stuff. He did a bunch of Monty Python stuff. He was part of Monty Python.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
Yeah, so that whole era has these really cool films like that. Because, I mean, parts of NeverEnding Story, I think, is kind of the same thing. The Luck Dragon, that's so crazy. And then those 2 statues where you have to walk between them. All these types of things like that. The Rock Biter. All these characters. And remember when they're at the Ivory Tower and they're asking the childlike princess for help. You know, all those different species or, you know, creatures from Fantasia, all are there. It's, you know, reminiscent of the Cantina scene, right, where you get a cross sampling of all the different creatures that maybe exist in this part of the world or galaxy or whatever. Kind of the same thing. There's all these different creatures that live on Fantasia, and they're all there to ask for help. All of that is just so otherworldly. Obviously, you know, it's very cool, and it sticks with you. Like if you saw it, you know, as a kid, you never forget that for sure. And just the dialogue there, so amazing. I absolutely love that film. So I played it for my kids last weekend, and they were digging it for sure. And sometimes those ones take some repetition. And they're also movies like that now fight against iPads, so it's a little trickier.
I know. I was just about to say, you know, I've tried with my kids to watch like some of like the classic 80s stuff that I loved as a kid. And I think that modern kids movies are just on a whole different pace.
Oh, yeah.
You know, because
sure.
like, I mean, you watch like some of this Disney stuff and it's just constant, you know, stuff for them to look at, and like there's songs and there's all this stuff going on. Then you contrast that with like NeverEnding Story, and it's kind of like a slow burn, you know. So the kids are kind of like, when's something gonna happen?
Totally.
You know, like
totally.
Yeah. So I think it's a little hard, you know. I think it's lost on this new generation a little bit. But that's all we had, you know. They hadn't really made, you know, computer animated movies yet, you know, so this was what we had. So I don't know.
Exactly. I would still try to play it. If anybody out there listening has kids, still play it for them. Even if they see it in pieces, or they remember watching it once when they're 5, and then when they're 7, they watch it again, and it kindles some memories of it. It's worth it. And excellent score by Klaus Doldinger, I think is how you say his name. I'm pretty sure he's a German composer. But of course, everybody knows the main theme, which was composed by Giorgio Moroder, and that was sung by Christopher Lamel-Hamel, who is also a European musician that probably most Americans don't know except for that song. But that song is classic. I mean, it's perfect, absolutely perfect for that movie.
Yeah.
So it's on Blu-ray, it's on streaming. It's definitely recommended. It's one of my all-time classic childhood films for sure.
So Steve, I don't know if you heard. I know last week we were talking about Steve DeGiorgio, because he's in Testament now, and we were talking about how Dave Lombardo just joined Testament. But this week, or maybe not this week, but like recently, Dave Mustaine revealed who played bass on their new record. Now, you remember their bass player, David Ellefson, got in a little bit of trouble. I'm sure everybody read about it.
Oh,
you might have seen the pictures that are permanently burned into your memory.
Thank God I did not.
But anyways, Dave Mustaine decided to scrap all the bass that David Ellefson had recorded and replace it. So he was sort of doing some Instagram, like vague booking or whatever you want to call it, you know. But people pretty early on guessed who it was just based on the bass guitar itself, because everybody knows DeGiorgio plays like a specific 5-string or something like that. So,
right, and fretless, of course.
Yeah, a lot of the metal nerds sort of knew it was him, but you know, Dave Mustaine finally relented that it was DeGiorgio who came in and replayed the bass for the new Megadeth record. Now, it's up to you whether or not you're excited about a new Megadeth record, but I know you like Steve DeGiorgio. You know, everybody kind of can appreciate him, but his musicianship. And I think Mustaine has Lomenzo playing bass, right? The guy, didn't he used to be in White Lion?
Yeah, because all those Kiko videos that I was watching like last summer, that's their bassist. So all the little adventures that Kiko films all the time that they're doing, you know, backstage, catering, blah, blah, blah. It was always that guy doing bass.
It's just strange. I guess it's strange to me that he had DeGiorgio record the record, but tapped a different guy to go on tour. But I guess that's because DeGiorgio's in Testament right now. So, you know.
Yeah, so he can only have time to do the sessions, right, and not go on the road, I guess.
Yeah. So anyway,
that's going to be. I can't wait to hear that.
Just tying into something we talked about last week. That's all. That's what I do around here.
In honor of that, in honor of Steve DeGiorgio playing on the new Megadeth album, we said to ourselves, let's pick our favorite Megadeth album for the podcast, and then we kind of unspoken realized that all of us would probably pick the same favorite Megadeth album, and I'm going to go ahead and guess because I know you guys pretty well. So let me be the one to, if I may.
If it's right, if it's correct, raise your hand.
Is it Rust in Peace?
Ding, 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 ding. That's my favorite for sure.
All right.
I think it's everybody's favorite, except for Jeff.
Except for Jeff Uberti, yeah. They have good stuff before that. Jeff would say it's their best stuff. And they have good stuff that came after that, but there's no peak like Rust in Peace. I mean, it's a perfect album. First time I heard Holy Wars on Headbangers Ball, I just couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe what I was seeing and hearing.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know that people could play like that. And, you know, there's a lot of stuff I hadn't heard in metal at that point, and there were a lot of people who could play like that, but I didn't know that at the time.
Yeah. How about that sweet, clean lead into like the second movement of the whole song? Like, really nobody's ever done that, at that point.
It was one of the most epic songs I'd ever heard. Up there with like Iron Maiden, like Rime of the Ancient Mariner kind of stuff. And yeah, it's Holy Wars Punishment Due, Hangar 18 is another amazing song. Freaking Polaris is a great song.
Dawn Patrol has always been a favorite of mine too.
It's a perfect album, and whether they've reached that level or surpassed that level in any other whatever, that's all debatable. But at least they were able to make that perfect album back in what was that, 89?
Yeah, 88, 89, something like that. Yeah, right around there. So good.
I think he's always had that competitive thing with Metallica. So I mean, Metallica puts out Master of Puppets. I think you gotta answer that, right?
You gotta answer.
He did a pretty good job.
I hope that they let Steve DeGiorgio just do what he does, because to me, I feel like Mustaine might want to try to shape a little bit of what he does and make it, for lack of a better term, a little bit cleaner and a little bit more traditional. But the best part of DeGiorgio, in my opinion, is just the holy shit, what did he just play? Is that even right? But it is. But it's just like listen to Individual Thought Patterns album by Death. That's him maybe in his prime, or not necessarily prime, but in his most just able to do whatever he wants. And it's just all over the place. And some of it, you might even be like jarred by it in a way if you're not used to that, because he's doing not any typical metal style bass playing at all. He's more like Jaco Pastorius got thrown into a metal band or something like that, or something crazy. It's just not traditional. And that is what I love most about what he does. So I hope Mustaine just lets him do almost whatever he wants to do over the stuff that's already recorded, because I think that will be what'll be the best. Is there any indication of when we might be able to hear a track from that, or not that we know of?
It won't be long now, I don't think.
Yeah. Man, it's going to be so good.
He said within a week or so.
Oh, wow. Okay. So he must have recorded it a few months ago or something, or a little bit ago.
Oh, yeah. He was posting on Instagram a handful of months ago.
Okay. So. Does anybody know what that record's called? Or no, is it not announced yet? Okay. We'll have to keep our eyes peeled for that. But we're all huge fans of Steve DeGiorgio, so we're looking forward to hearing what that Megadeth record could sound like with that kind of bass on it. It's going to be very cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, don't forget to leave some comments or email us at askv3cast@gmail.com. And we will see everybody again next time on V3Cast. Take it easy.
Go Tigers.
Go Tigers.
Hey guys.
I like it.
Yeah.
I'm so scared.